Every once in a while, a movie kind of flies under the radar, and it turns out it's worth talking about. Tonight, we go apes. Oh, God. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Real 9. Tonight we're going to talk about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Released this year, actually not that long ago. The movie is still in the theaters if you want to catch it there, which is where I found it. And I believe you can also find it for rent on Prime. This was directed by Wes Ball, written by Josh Friedman, and it actually has a really good starring cast. I mean, granted, most of them are CGI apes, but the two main characters that are human did a great job. So let's go through that. Stars Owen Teague, Freya Allen, my favorite Kevin Durand, Peter McCann, and William H. Macy, who I loved his part. Relatively brief, but brilliant. In the overall Planet of the Apes movies, this one clocks in as the 10th in the series, but it's the 5th of the reboots. The first one being I think Mark Wahlberg, one of the Wahlberg brothers, did the first reboot. And, just briefly, while I didn't really care for most of these reboots, I did like that the first one, they actually went with the practical makeup. It was slightly better than the original Planet of the Apes, but I got to be honest with you, the CG work in Kingdom was quite amazing. Before we go into it anymore, let's have a look at that trailer.
When I sleep, I see strange things.
Memories?
Not memories. New things. I see everything.
That is not everything.
So I had mentioned in the opening that this one flew under the radar, and as I kind of looked into it, it seems that it might have been just lack of or wanting of publicity. As you just saw by the trailer, that was the shortest trailer, by the way. And you see a lot of it is just kind of like looking at really beautiful landscapes, and you get a sense of peace and calm, and then it kicks you into the action and give you a little taste of what kind of story you're in for. The longer ones aren't any better. That's why I chose the short one. I watched about 4 different trailers for this film, and this was the best. So I think the fact that a lot of people didn't really realize it's out and playing is because they didn't really do a lot of good work on the trailer. And advertising in itself. I mean, I remember hearing that it was in the theater. I remember Kevin calling me saying that he had watched it and recommending that I should see it as well because while it's not a new story, it is certainly the CG was certainly amazing, and I agree with them on that. So let's get into this a little bit. This is a sequel to War for the Planet of the Apes, and it takes place about 300 years later, after the events in that film. The official synopsis says many generations after Caesar, the apes have formed into a bunch of different clans. Each clan kind of had its own thing. In this case, the clan that we're following, they were raising and training eagles. A young chimp, whose name is Nova, and that would have been played by Owen Teague, sets out to rescue his clan from the warlike gorillas that had attacked them, killed all their elders, and enslaved the rest of the people. He teams up reluctantly with a human woman, and along the way comes across an orangutan who is kind of like a Knight Templar. He comes from a group that follow the philosophies of Caesar. And I'm hoping that some of you that are watching this have at least watched some Planet of the Apes, some of the reboots, so you understand who Caesar is and what his mentality was. But it turned, there's some twists and turns in the plot, and it turns out that not everybody is who they say they are. I will say, without giving away too much, let's just bring up the evil ape, gorilla, let's say, that's played by Kevin Durand, and his name is Proximus Caesar, and he's running a kingdom that's on the seashore, and basically he's trying to break into a nuclear bunker. He has no clue what's in there. He just wants in. William H. Macy is a talking human that is in the kingdom of the gorilla leader, and he's like the advisor. He's the one that has philosophical conversations with him. He's helping him try to break into the bunker. Most of the movie is the trek of Noah and the woman, and I'm sorry, her name escapes me. It's a long trek of trying to find his clan. He runs across the orangutan, and that's where he learns that they have not been taught everything. Not all of what Caesar was preaching or trying to teach the apes had made it out to the clans, and some of it was intentional. It's not that it was it was purposely withheld, but it was for non-nefarious reasons, we'll say. So he's learning more about the ape history, and he's learning some of the things that he was not told. And then, of course, they come across the kingdom, and then that's where the real action starts. Plot-wise, it was smart. This was not a dumbed-down action movie. The writer, Josh Friedman, he wrote a really solid story. Again, I hate to say basic, but it's your basic adventure tale. I mean, let's face it, there's really no new stories. It's just different situations and people. But it was very smart. Every aspect of it, from the clans, to the orangutan giving more information, to finding the kingdom, to listening to the gorilla king, who is very charismatic, very believable, and you can tell it's full of shit. But the true colors has always come out. The underground bunker, what's in it, why people are trying to get into it, all that's really smart. And I think if I was going to criticize anything, it would be the ending. And it's really not a criticism. It just seemed like a lot to go through to get to that result. And I think if they had just maybe added a little more of something, I don't even know what, I'd have to chew on it a little bit more, but if they just added a little bit more substance to the reasoning, I think the ending would have had a little more impact. But again, I'm not criticizing. It was actually all well done. I've mentioned before, and I'm going to say it one more time, the CGI was fucking top shelf. I mean, this was really good. Every ape that shows up in the movie, the finest details to the hair and the coloring of the hair and how the hair is affected by movement or wind or water. It was really, really amazing. I'm not sure how that's going to transfer to watching it on your TV screen. I'm sure it's still going to look great, but seeing it on a huge movie theater screen, that's where you really see where either they just couldn't get it right or they didn't have the money to spend on the time it would take. Not in this case. While I was looking things up for this movie, I found you guys a nice little surprise. I found some behind the scene footage that I don't think anybody's seen except people in production. It's rough. I mean, it's like from the dailies, it's not pristine. So here it is.
This is a fucked up Republican.
All right. Wasn't really a clip from the movie. Come on, it was a little bit funny. Moving on. I kind of fell away from these Planet of the Apes movies quite some time ago. I have the original ones on Blu-ray, and I will break those out from time to time. Back in the 70s when these started, of course, it was groundbreaking makeup. It was crazy storytelling. But for me, it was all about the makeup. I wanted to know how they turned these human actors into these, what I considered at the time, very realistic apes. And that kind of started my trek into that whole field, to be honest with you. Between Star Trek and those monsters and the Scary Dead stuff from shows like Night Gallery, I just wanted to learn how people did this and made it look so good. And that's how I got started and went and worked in the makeup effects. I'm going to give this one a 3. No, I'm going to give this one a 4. I'll give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm going to look forward to when it comes out on streaming, because streaming they're streaming at 2K or higher pretty much all the time. And I have a 4K TV, so I think it's going to look pretty great. So if you guys are watching this on our YouTube channel, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit the like button. Let us know if you like the content. If you don't like it, throw in a comment. We always like to hear from people. If you're viewing it on Facebook, again, hit the like button. Give us some comments. Give us some direction. Anything you think that we could do to make it better. Or if you're just happy with the way it is, or possibly even a suggestion for the next review. That does it for tonight. And I want to thank you all for watching. It does mean a lot to us. Be back next week, next Friday. Have a whole new review for you. And I look forward to seeing you then. Good night.